welcome back to CH10 Novel and Vocab Week 16, and this video is for our novel. In this video, we'll be going over the difficult phrases from our novel, and this is to help with your cultural fluency. By becoming familiarized with different slang and colloquialisms, students will be able to relate to the novel and incorporate these phrases to convey their ideas more precisely. And what does all of that mean? It basically means we're going to go over the book, find some phrases that we don't know, and then you'll learn it so that you can be able to use it in your speech and show your thoughts. In this video, we'll be talking about the Lemonade War, chapters 10 through 12. And if you don't already, please go ahead and get your book so that we can start. We'll be going on to the first page of chapter 10 on page 128 first, but please watch the little video first here, as this man is tying a knot. That's a huge big knot, right? But first, let's go to page 128. Chapter 10, Malicious Mischief. Okay, it says, Jessie was all in knots. Evan was madder than ever at her, and she couldn't figure out why. So, all in knots. What does it mean that Jessie is all in knots? Here, all in knots means feeling very nervous, stressed, or confused. Like a bundle of tangled string here. So you have all these knots in your stomach. The idea comes from the feeling of muscles tightening. And when someone is tense or worried, like a physical knot in your stomach. So you don't feel very comfortable, not at all. Not if you have these type of knots in your stomach. But why is this phrase used? It's used because being in knots feels just like how you worry and stress can tighten up inside of you. Almost like you're tied down to your feelings. So when can we use this phrase? An example is, before her big math test, Kimberly felt all in knots because she was worried about how she'd do. So here, to be all in knots, as you can see at the bottom here, it says our stress level is at its peak. So to be all in knots means to be tense and worried. Okay? When was the time that you were all in knots? Was it before a test? Or maybe it was before getting in trouble by your parents? Or maybe it was just when you had to do a speech competition and you were all in knots and you didn't feel well. Share with me in your mission. Now, let's still go to page 128. We're going to continue reading where we stopped, okay? It says, on page 128, right after, he had said, do you want to call off the war? And she had said, sure, let's call off the war, or something like that. That's what she'd meant to say. That's what she'd wanted to say. What does it mean to call off the war? Remember, they're not really at a big war like what's happening in the world, but we are in the Lemonade War. But what does it mean to call off? Call and then switch off? This is a phrasal verb here, call off. As you can see kind of in my pictures, it's a big of a hint. Call off means to stop or cancel something that was planned already and is happening. This phrase comes from sports or events that are sometimes stopped because of the weather or other issues. Why is this phrase used in this book? So calling off an event makes it clear that the person wants to end it completely. Here it means stopping the war between Jessie and Evan. They don't want to do the Lemonade War anymore. Or at least that's what they were trying to ask. They still had to finish through with it. So when can we use this? Call off. You can say something like, after arguing all day, Jessie thought it would be better to call off the fight and make up with Evan. So maybe we're just going to cancel everything and just say, okay, let's please make up. No more fighting, please. So say that you have a student in your class and you guys sometimes fight here and there and bicker and whatnot. You can say, hey, Kimberly, let's call this off. I don't want to fight with you anymore. Let's just be friends. Truce? Or we can say, there was a picnic outside, and all of a sudden it started to thunderstorm, and then we had to call off the picnic. We have to cancel it because of all the rain. Okay? Have you had a situation when you had to call off something? Maybe you had to go on a field trip, but a teacher called it off because of the weather. Or maybe you're going to play with your friends, but you had to call it off because one of you got sick. There are many situations in which you can use this phrase, call off. Now, let's go to page 129, which is the next page. And I'm going to start at the third indent from the bottom. It says but, and then go up one indent, it says sure, and then go up one indent, and it says still. Everybody there? On page 129, it says still. If push came to shove and she needed it all to win. Sure, she'd use it all. This was war. What does this mean? Push came to if push came to shove. If push comes to shove means if a situation gets worse or if it's absolutely necessary, then the person will act. So if push came to shove, what do we think about when we push someone? We're pushing, right? Also, when we shove, we're shoving somebody. It's so violent, isn't it? But it's saying here, if push came to shove, if it came to the final moment where I needed to do something, I will do it. So this origin of this phrase likely comes from situations that build up. Like this person, he had all of his feelings build up and then he exploded out of his head. Here, it's when it all builds up, where gentle actions like a little push or like a little shove could turn into something stronger if needed. It's used to say that someone will act if they actually absolutely need to. For example, you can say, Kimberly didn't want to compete, but if push came to shove, she was ready to try her best. So for example, say that I was fighting with my brother, okay? I was patient. I wasn't going to do anything. I accepted that he was, bothering me and making fun of me. But here I am, calm, but it starts to bubble up, bubble up, bubble up, bubble up. And I got so angry. So then if push came to shove, if he keeps bothering me, I'm going to fight back. Not by punching him. Don't look at my arms. If I would fight back and say something mean to him. But again, that's only if push came to shove at the very end. So say that you're at the end of your wits. That's another idiom. If your push came to shove, if you tried to hold it in, but then finally you're going to do something, push came to shove. Right? When's the time that you had to do something when push came to shove? Maybe write it in your mission. I love reading your little notes, by the way. Thank you so much. Let's go to page 136. Page 136. Let's go down 1, 2, 3, and we're at the fourth indent where it says no. Page 136, fourth indent where it says no. If you can't find it, please pause the video, find it, and then read along with me. Everyone there? No, said Jessie, remembering the spit vow. Evan would be mad if he knew that she had worried Mom with their fighting. And then he'd spill the beans about the terrible thing she was about to do. Jessie didn't want her mom knowing anything about that. Spill the beans. So here I have a picture of spilling coffee beans, but we can also have other types of beans that we have in our rice. But what does it mean if I'm actually spilling beans here? Is Jessie going to get a cup of beans and spill it in, or Evan? Is Evan going to get a cup of beans and spill it in front of his mom? What does that mean? Spill the beans. Spill the beans means to reveal a secret or tell information that wasn't supposed to be shared. We had to be quiet, but we spilled the beans. We spilled the beans. We let it out. So this phrase might come from the ancient Greek practices where beans were used for voting long time ago. And spilling them accidentally could reveal who won or the whole decision. For example, maybe they put a black bean for one person and then a white bean for another person. And then if you spill those beans from a long time ago and there were more black beans, then you'd be like, oh no, we know the answer. We know the secret. Ah! So that's where it came from. Spill the beans. But why is this phrase used in our book? Spilling a physical thing like beans is similar to accidentally letting out a secret. So here, Jessie didn't want to tell her mom about her fight with Evan because she was afraid that Evan would then spill the beans about all the bad things that she has done so far. Spill the beans. So when can we use this phrase? When's an example? You say, Kimberly was careful not to spill the beans about the surprise party that they were planning for her mom. So when we're planning a surprise party, of course we don't want to tell anyone. But if you accidentally let it out, then you spilled the beans. So when's the time that you accidentally spilled the beans? Or maybe you saw someone spill the spill the beans instead. Did they let out a secret or did you? Spill the beans. Let's go to page 148. I don't like seeing that picture. Page 148. And we're going to go from the very top, okay? Everybody there? Read with me, please. He knew what he would have found. Jessie was all over this one. That rat! That lousy, rotten, stinking rat of a sister, he shouted. He went back into the garage and kicked the wagon. He knocked the cooler to the floor. He tore up his lemonade on wheels sign into a dozen of pieces. So what does it mean here to call someone a rat? Eek! As you can see from my picture, you may already know. But here, calling someone a rat is an insult. It's not a nice thing to do, meaning that they're sneaky and untrustworthy, or they're someone who would betray others, meaning they're not going to be loyal. A rat has been long used to describe someone who would squeal or tell secrets, like a spy or a traitor. So then a rat has just become calling people a rat has just become to call them a liar or untrustworthy and not loyal. People use rat as an insult to describe someone that has done sneaky or mean things. So I don't want you guys watching this video starting to call all these people rats, okay? It's not a nice thing. I just wanted to point it out to you because that is what it shows how angry Evan was at Jessie for ruining his lemonade, right? So when can I use this phrase? Even though I'm not going to use this phrase, I can say, oh, that rat, she said she didn't eat the last cookie, but she did. She stole my cookie. Someone that is mean, untrustworthy, and just a liar. Rat. Page 149, the next page right on over. And we're going to start from the second paragraph, okay? It says there. Everybody ready? It says, there was the fake pack of gum inside the key. Did she really think he didn't know where she hid it? He'd seen her slip the key inside the box when he was passing by on his way to the bathroom. Jessie was smart, but she wasn't very smooth. He'd known for months where the key was hidden. He just hadn't bothered to use it. What does this mean? Jessie was smart, but she wasn't smooth. Is her skin rough? Is she not smooth here? What does this mean, smooth? Smooth means being calm, confident, and graceful in social situations without making mistakes. So a smooth person is calm, like an even surface, free from rough or awkward moments. So saying this, that Jessie is not smooth, means that she's maybe good at school, good at math, good at reading. However, she's kind of awkward when talking to people or handling situations, and she's not good at hiding things. Even though this was her little secret box with the key and everything, it wasn't so secret because she wasn't smooth. She wasn't very smart, street smart. She's book smart, but not street smart, where she thinks that she can hide everything. Evan already knew everything, so she wasn't smooth. So here, confident and calm, this would be a smooth person. However, in the next two pictures, someone that's a bit awkward from others, walking away, or a person with a little slit sign here, shows that they're not very smooth. Okay, I can say in another way, oh, Kimberly was holding a tray of cookies. She was walking very slowly, however, she tripped and fell. She wasn't very smooth, meaning she wasn't very graceful. Smooth. And for our last one, let's go to page 153. And I would like to read from the second indent where it says, "What fun was that?" This is when Jessie was at the beach with Megan. And let's see here. Everybody ready on page 153? What fun was that? Sure, the water was cold. It was the North Shore. It was supposed to be cold. That's why it felt so good on a hot day like this. When Jessie and Evan would go to the beach, they would boogie board and body surf and skimboard and throw a screaming scrunch ball back and forth the whole time. They loved to stay in the water until their lips turned blue and they couldn't stop shaking. Then they'd roast themselves like weenies on their towels until they were hot and sweating again. And then they'd go right back in. Now that was fun at the beach. So here, I just wanted to show you a little bit if you didn't know what boogie boarding and all this stuff was. First, a boogie board right here is a smaller surfboard for riding small waves while lying on your stomach. So you're not really standing up and surfing, okay? Body surf means to just ride the waves without this board. So you're riding the waves, and then as the waves come down, you're just following the water. Skimboard is a thin board that you throw into the shallow water and slide over the surface, as our second picture here. So think about running, throwing this board, and then running, trying to get on top of it, and then you slide. The third picture is another picture of boogie boarding. And then the last picture, we have here a screaming scrunch ball. This isn't exactly a screaming scrunch ball, but it's something similar. It's a ball or some kind of, football shape that's squishy. It's usually made out of foam that makes a fun sound when it's thrown. So this orange ball here, when I throw it, it goes, it like whistles through. It's just a fun game to play when you're at the beach. So here, Jessie is just describing different types of activities she and Evan did when they were out at the beach on a hot day, but she's not having so much fun with Megan. And as I was reading this, I wanted to go over this as well. It says their lips turned blue. If your lips turn blue, what does that mean? Yes, it means you're very cold and it's freezing, so it turns blue. And then another one, it says that they'd roast themselves like weenies, meaning they would, after playing out in the water, they would come back out and then roast in the sun like they're little hot dog weenies. Basically just saying they're cold in the water, but then out of the water, they would like to rest and get some sunshine. Woohoo! It was a very short video because we've only read 3 chapters this week, but hopefully you got to understand a few phrases. Our mission now is a very easy one. It says, draw what Evan's cooler of lemonade would look like after Jessie ruined it. The picture must be detailed with all the needed bugs, and I want you to be detailed. Okay, So there were some bugs that she put in. For example, if you draw a spider or if you draw like a grasshopper in there, things that were not mentioned in the book, you will not be able to get the whole $5. But I will give you $1 for effort. Make sure that you add in the bugs that Jessie added in. Remember to write your name, class, and week so that I can find you and give you your dollars. Now, at the end of our video, it is time to review and self-study, which is for contextual mastery. Please review all the phrases again, read the 3 chapters out loud again, reread the novel, and then complete your novel homework. Thank you so much for joining me this week. We only have one more week of the Lemonade War. I'm so sad, but let's keep going. You guys are doing such a great job this semester. Keep it up, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!